Welcome to the Recruitment Business Accelerator Podcast. Creating a successful recruitment business is not about you being the best hands-on biller or driving most of the activity for your team. It's about you becoming the best strategist, marketer, and leader so that you can create a powerful business that grows quickly and does not depend on you. For the last 10 years, Nicky and Katy have been advising recruitment business owners just like you to do exactly that. If you want to grow your business by 20% to 250% in 6 months or less, half your hours, and build a powerful recruitment business that doesn't depend on you, keep listening. If you want it faster, visit centeredexcellence.co.uk/apply. Here's Nicky and Katy.
Welcome to our live Facebook Live for this week. It's Nicky Coffin and Katy Green here, and we are here to share with you a game plan to thrive in this uncertain market. So great to have everybody here, and I've hopefully tagged the right people in. So just to run through what we're going to cover with you today. So we're going to be covering what our clients are doing right now that is adding huge value and is also generating exclusive business and also opportunities that clients are paying for using their existing skills. I'm going to talk to you about the biggest mistake that we see a lot of recruitment business owners who are making that's really damaging their reputation and killing their brand at the moment. We're also going to talk to you about how you can organically generate brand new business with the right type of clients and candidates if you want that you've never worked with before. And this is stuff that you don't pay for, so it's totally organic, non-paid for reach outs. And we're going to show you some real examples of how our clients are actually using this and getting results in this moment. So, you know, in this current time, we're seeing some amazing results happening through our clients. We're going to share with you how they're doing that, and then we're going to show you the fastest way that you can make sales, whether it's placements or some other form of revenue, in the next 90 days. And we're also going to talk at the end how we you know, if you want it, you can get our input, and how you can either launch or relaunch your recruitment business. And I'll be talking about our momentum program and some of the results our clients are getting there, and the next step if you want to explore that. So before we get going, I just want to say a huge congratulations for actually being here. And as a quote I came across this morning, which I think really resonated what I certainly think is going on here in the world, and it's your largest fear carries your greatest growth. And there's so much happening out in the market from an uncertainty viewpoint, and you know, the economic impacts that the coronavirus is having. But this is actually an opportunity to come out the other side absolutely transformed into something else. And a lot of people are really fearful, and you know, understandably, people are dying, businesses are closing. There's lots of fear out there, but the thing to remember is the thing that you fear greatest carries your greatest growth potential within it. And there's a great thing called the hero's journey, which talks about sort of where you start off and then how you learn skills, and through this journey you slay dragons, but you think it's not got the worst that it can be. You've just been slaying a couple of big dragons, and then a really big dragon comes on to be slayed, and as you then slay that, that's where you really become almost enlightened, and you then are able to take those learns back to your community, back to your tribe, and actually then teach others how to do it. And I think what's happening now is people are really having to come face to face with the thing they fear potentially most, and if you choose to take it, it will absolutely be your biggest growth. So I want to say congratulations, because you've shown up here for whatever reason, and for yourself, but also for your clients, and also for the future clients that you're going to be able to serve throughout your business off the back of what you're learning here now. And there are people out there right now who are going to thank you in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months for actually taking the stand yourself and turning up today. And because of the decisions that you've made today and the actions that you take this moment, this is going to make a difference, not only just to yourself, but it's a huge ripple effect moving on. And I'm a huge believer in the power of actually taking action. And there's so many things you could be doing right now. You could be watching Netflix, you could be reading the newspaper, you could be sunbathing, but you've decided to take the decision to actually be here and take action to move yourself forward. So I really want to say a really well done for that. So I want you to know that this is what we're going to be covering today. If you are a recruitment business owner who's got an existing business where most of your jobs have been turned off sometimes overnight or totally shut down overnight, and you can't see where the next placements are coming from, then we were going to be helping you with that. Also, if you're a recruitment business owner or director who has spoken to perhaps all of your buying clients and all of their jobs are on hold, and then you don't know where to go next, then we're going to be able to help you with that. Maybe you've had to furlough a lot of your staff and you're the only person working at the moment in your business, and you're not sure of where you should be focusing your time. We're going to cover that. Or maybe you've actually been saying for ages, you know, I need to develop something that is more than just recruitment so that I become really sticky within my clients so they can't survive without me. Well, now finally, life has given you a massive nudge. In fact, it's more than a kick up the bottom, but it's forced you to actually start stepping into that pool and start and looking at that. So we're going to be talking about that today. And maybe you just needed also to be saying goodbye to some clients who are not serving you. You actually need to be going out there and getting better clients for you. And this situation that you find yourself in is going to force you to do that because you have to in terms of survival. So I just wanted to say, if any of those resonate with you, you're in the right place. And first of all, many of you know Katy and I. You might have been in the group for some time, but we've also had a lot of new members join this week. So just want to take literally 2 minutes to explain who we are and why listen to us. So Katy and I are experts in helping people who are on their knees in recruitment getting back up and thriving. And we have seen it so many times over the last 10 years. People who've come to us who've been on the verge of going bust, they're about to lose their business, they're about to have to remortgage their house to fund their business, and we have been able to help them to totally transform and very quickly transform those results. And we do it, we've done it by two key approaches. One is structures and processes that we know work, and both Katy and I have built from scratch our own recruitment businesses and have very, very profitable recruitment businesses, you know, multi-million-pound recruitment businesses. But also we're experts from a mindset perspective, and that combination between the mindset and the structures and the processes is what I think helps our clients to create significant changes. So from my perspective, that is me. I'm hugely experienced in this, and you know, we've been there, we've walked the walk, we've trotted the snot, as we say. You know, within our businesses, we know exactly what you're going through, and we continue to do what we teach ourselves with our clients. So that's from my side. Katy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to add to that in terms of our experience, you know, my background, many of you will know my background is that I ran a multi-million-pound recruitment business across multiple disciplines in lots of different markets that were very, very different. And, you know, that's all great, lots of accolades, lots of awards from that. The most important thing for people right now, where they can pull on my expertise
within our businesses, we know,
is specifically where I've worked and, as you say, lived through and come out off the back of two very difficult recessions, one of which many of you will remember, the 2008 recession. And I can recall that really, really well, because I remember that being quite pinnacle moment for me in my career, which was that I felt like I'd gone backwards quite a bit, which was all of a sudden from running a recruitment business to actually getting right back down onto the shop floor, hands dirty, and doing recruitment again. And it was probably the best thing that could have happened for me at that point, to be honest with you, because sometimes you can get slightly removed from the marketplace. And when you're able to get right back into the trenches and lead from the front and actually make those calls and talk to clients, you get a whole new perspective on your business and where you can take your business. And that's what it did for me. So I was very much, I'm not going to shy away. This is for me to go beyond myself, step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to get back to recruiting, and I'm going to call my clients, because I realized that we had lost, we didn't have in-depth relationships. We had quite surface level relationships, and that's great when the market is buoyant. That's great when, you know, there are recruitment needs and jobs on the marketplace. But when you've actually got to create those opportunities yourself, then you need to have much more in-depth relationships, much more integral relationships, much more, like Nicky said, sticky, but really partnerships with your clients. It needs to go way deeper. And so the opportunity it gave me was to actually learn how to do that, and to learn how to do that really well. And what that meant was that I got really clear on what my clients' problems were, and not just again, their surface level problems, but really what my clients' problems were. And it meant that I could serve them in a way that other recruiters couldn't. And that was the big difference in that time period, because it meant that I built up those relationships with those clients, and that put us into a position where we actually came off the back of 2008, and I had most profitable year. So over £1.5 million, £1.5 million in net profit that year. And that was because of the steps that I took around my clients, but also some other steps that we're going to touch on with you today about what specifically, step by step, I did during that time that enabled me to have that best year ever. And that's pretty unprecedented to say, that most people come off the back of a recession and are able to do that. So what we're going to be sharing with you today is really integral, and it works. That's the key thing. These are proven techniques that we can guarantee you pretty much if you implement, you will get the results as well. So they're available to you. It's not that anyone's smarter or anyone's cleverer. The thing that I did was went back to basics and just got really good at having sales conversations. So amongst a few other things, but yeah. So I just wanted to share that, because that's the difference that made the difference. And that's what people need right now, is the difference that makes the difference.
Yeah, and there is a difference between the way that our clients are having conversations at the moment, and that's the type of thing that we've taught them how to do, which is giving them a different set of results. So, and most of us have never been in this situation before, so we don't even know what we should be asking. So it is a new skill that you need to learn. So fundamentally, what we specialize in is the shortest, fastest way to increase revenue. And so no matter where you are, whether you're a new business or established, we can show you the exact steps you need to take to get from where you are now to making placements or getting revenue quickly. And we can help also to show you how to cut through the unnecessary, time wasting, energy sapping stuff that you think you should be doing, which actually you don't need to be doing. And the strategy that we teach is very simple. You don't even need a website. You don't need a website, you don't need lead magnets, you don't need fancy webinars, you don't need, it's really simple. Anyone can do it, and that's what we like about it. You can implement it really quickly. So just to give you an example of, so we launched Momentum within our client base 2 weeks ago, and one of the things that our clients have done really quickly is they have adapted to the situation really quickly. So we're experts at helping people to get results, but just to give you a couple of examples of what's happened in the last 2 weeks. Heather, who joined our program, and she actually on the Rocket program, which is our normal program, increased her turnover by 400% in 6 months. But in the last 2 weeks, she's been so busy, she's had to outsource a lot of the jobs that are coming in to other people in our group. She's also looking at hiring in external staff to help deal with the volume, and that's because she has gone back to her clients with the process that we taught her, and it's opened up doors that she didn't even know existed. There were certain roles that she's taken on which might not be her like main specialism role, but she's been able to fill them because no other recruiters are there or answering their phones, and the roles are so urgent that the decision makers don't have time to go through a full-blown recruitment process. So she is absolutely maxed out. We've also got Deborah. She places FDs, and throughout our program she tripled her profits, but in the last 2 weeks she's closed an 80k deal, and she's opened up an M&A possibility, and I think she's going to uncover some major opportunities with that. Again, she wouldn't have done that had we not pointed her in the right direction. And then Katie, can you mention about Alan, please?
Yeah, so I did the Q&A call. We do a live call with our clients, and I did that last night, and on the call talking to Alan and talking about the successes that people are getting, and he said to me, I've got to share this success with you, Katie, because this is something that I've thought about, and he said in many ways it's kind of been one of my wildest dreams. Even when it's buoyant, I thought I'd love to do that, but just haven't got round to putting a proposition together or talking to my clients about it, because I've always worked contingent roles. But through the servicing that he's been doing and the calls he's been having, he has had 2 clients come back to him asking him if he would actually be their outsourced function. So they have approached him to say, I know this isn't your normal area of expertise, Alan, but what we'd love to do is retain you on a monthly basis, and so that we can pay you to actually be like our internal recruiter, go through the CVs, because we've got a number of roles that we want to fill on the security side, and whilst that isn't your specialism, we would love you to head it up for us. Is that something you would do? Now, how many people would have their client actually contact them and ask them or come up with that solution? So he was really taken aback, and what it's given him is now an opportunity to put something down on paper to craft that out, and he's actually going to other clients with that same offering. So yeah, amazing.
It's pretty cool, because let's be honest, a lot of companies have put recruitment on hold. So what's happening with their internal recruitment teams? I bet they are probably one of the first lot that have been furloughed.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, just a thought. So we can give you many more examples of how we've done this, but if you want to know right now, the most secure, fastest path to making money, but not just that, it's more than just making cash. Actually, it's about building a solution and offering that is more than just recruitment. Then stick with us and listen to what we've got to say, because we will be sharing that with you, and we'll also happily answer any questions you have at the end. So I'm going to just start with the mistakes that we want you to avoid doing, because there are some things that people are doing at the moment which are really killing their opportunities, but also potentially even killing their future business. And also, a lot of people are finding a lot more time on their hands. So, it means that you can actually get started on things that you've been putting off for a long time. But the danger in that is that if you've got so much time on your hands, it's actually like, where should I be spending that time that's going to give me the biggest return? So I'm going to run through the 3 biggest mistakes we're seeing at the moment, and basically things that you can do so you avoid them. So the first mistake we're seeing is a lot of people are making the assumption that this time is going to pass, and then as we come out of lockdown, that things are going to go back to normal. And so they're basically waiting for recruitment the recruitment tap to turn back on. And I can tell you now that is not going to be the case. I don't know whether any of you've watched the news, but even if like take the news out of it, the way that we do business moving forward, it will have changed forever when we come back out of this even just the lockdown. And by waiting and not taking action now, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to connect with clients. So Katie, can you add in on this?
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's an element here for some people maybe, which is that fear element of sort of that paralyzed state of not even being able to see the wood from the trees and slight overwhelm. So they're just hoping that things are going to pass, and that you know, all of a sudden my client's going to call me, we've got 3 months, we've furloughed, and then by June, you know, things are going to pick back up. And reality is that's not going to be the situation. We are moving into uncharted territory, but we're moving into new ways of working. And as you say, Nikki, things are going to be very different. And what that means is we've got to adapt. We've got to start moving now to make sure that our position, our offering, what we're able to do is going to be right for that marketplace. And that's going to evolve over a period of time. So people need to start taking action now, which means that as they go, they can be making those changes and moving with the marketplace and being fluid and nimble while that is happening. And to do that, you know, it goes back to, you've got to be having the conversations in the first place to put you into that position. So whilst people think, oh, you know, I'll just sit here and I'll wait, the reality is that's not going to happen for anybody. So the problem with that is that you're paralyzed, you're not taking any action. So you're actually missing out on what is going on right now. And there are opportunities right now. I know people think, maybe they think there aren't, but I promise you, once you start calling and having the right conversations, you will uncover those. So rather than sit back and wait, the key thing here is you've got to start taking action, because nothing's going to change. If anything, it's going to get more difficult rather than simpler. And yeah, you know, whilst tough markets don't always last, tough people do. And this is where, you know, there needs to be that element of upskilling yourself and your teams to get ready for what is required in this new marketplace.
Yeah, and I think if a lot of our staff, a lot of our clients have furloughed staff, and you know, when your staff come back into the frame, they're going to come back into a different world. It's going to be like a bit like a tsunami. It's like, bloody hell, what have we just come back into? So it's really important that you are going to be training them before they even start, like what's expected, how's this going to work, and with this new approach. So there's that, but also it's also an opportunity, because so many companies have furloughed their stuff. Like Heather's found, you know, all of the agencies this client was trying to get hold of weren't answering the phone. So he's like, Heather, I can't find anyone to help me. Can you help me with this? So you're starting from a place, it's a bit like a windmill, you know. I can imagine you've got your windmill going versus a windmill that you're having to start from scratch 2 months down the line. You know, it takes a lot of effort to get their windmill going, but you guys are just going to be speeding up that windmill, where other people are just going to be starting from scratch. So every single day that you don't take action is an opportunity missed. And the other thing we're saying to you is, we want you to, I think you're going to need to be offering something other than just recruitment. And this is like a really, this is one of the things we teach in our program, and where we've had a lot of success with clients where they're actually offering a totally different package. You know, one of the things that they offer is recruitment alongside consultancy or alongside sort of managed services. So psychometric testing, you know, so that actually the clients, they become an integral partner with that client. And this is your opportunity to do that, but you need to know what the client's challenges are, what the things they're facing, in order then to carve out an offer to then to take to market. And now's the time to be doing that. So, so that's the first mistake. So the second mistake is we're seeing a lot of people who have called through all their existing clients. They've had, you know, a top line conversation. So Katie, share with me what you just shared with me about that chat you had with a client earlier this week about calling through their existing clients.
Oh yeah. So what I'm seeing happening with people or with some recruitment businesses is that they're calling their clients and they are starting that client, that call well in terms of building rapport, asking questions. So how are you? Of course, the client's saying, not great. Here's what's happening. Yeah, how is that for you? So asking them about it. So in other words, keeping them in that situation. But then what they're doing is they get so far and then it's, I don't know what to do next. So apart from talking about recruitment or when opportunities might be coming or what future recruitment there might be, I mean, some great questions on that, they don't actually know how to take it any further. And the key thing here is that right now what your clients need is for you to consult, and for you to consult from a strategic business perspective, not just be a recruiter, to actually be able to have that business conversation with them, MD to MD. So rather than stopping and then saying, oh, great, how are things for you? You haven't got any recruitment needs. Oh, let me know how I can help. Well, the client doesn't know how you can help. This is the thing. The client is in a problem state. What you need to be able to do is to ask certain questions, to go a stage way deeper than that. So have that strategic high level conversation to actually help them uncover what their real problems are. And this is not from a recruitment perspective. This is actually about a business perspective. Because when you start delving underneath that, you help the client to understand that what they're often giving you are their symptoms. They're not giving you the real problem because they don't actually understand what the real problem is themselves. So, you may have heard me say, I give the analogy. Let's imagine that you've got a rash and you've got a rash on your face and you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, what's your problem? And you say, well, doctor, I've got this really awful rash on my face. It's really itchy. It's really hurting me. It's causing me a lot of aggravation. And what you're giving the doctor is your symptoms. The doctor might actually then turn around and say, okay, yeah, I understand. They'll ask you a lot of more questions. They won't just take it as in it's your rash, that's your problem. They'll ask you way more questions. What have you been eating? Where have you been? What have you been exposed to, etc., etc., etc. And then what they'll actually do is uncover the root cause. And this is this is the process that needs to happen for you to really consult with the client and get clear on what is going on for them. So you're then able to craft that solution and to support them moving forward. And that's the difference. That's the real difference here.
And this is what Deborah did, which uncovered this M&A opportunity, because she was asking really in-depth questions, and they talked about this deal that just suddenly fallen through because of the current market. And like Deborah was like, well, I can help you with that, because she's then got 3 clients who are potentially going bust but have got really good staff in them that they could be acquiring. And she's like, I could help you with that. So she dug deeper, and what we're finding is people are going top line, but they're not going deeper, and then sometimes at a level deeper just because they don't know what the questions are. And certainly we're finding clients are doing that top line and then they're sending like an e-shot or I don't know, just a blog on something. And this is the other thing, like this type of just sending out social media posts and blogs, articles is not going to win you business, guys. There's so many people who are doing that and then like crossing their fingers and hoping that people are then going to see that and thought, oh, that's a good article, I'll pick up the phone to them. It's not going to, I mean, you might get very lucky, but I don't think that's going to, you need to be a lot more proactive and speak to your client. So this pulls us on to the third mistake that a lot of people are doing. So it's about reaching out to a much wider market. So there's a couple of problems here. It's one of the things that people are not structured and they don't know their numbers. There's a little person just being taken out. Just snuck in. So they're not structured with their day, and they don't know what their numbers are, and they don't know how many conversations they need to be having. And so what's happening is they're speaking to their existing clients, and then they've run out of people to speak to, and then they don't know how to then open up further conversations with brand new people in this market. And the problem with that is that the only way that you're going to thrive in this, you're going to need to speak to a lot more people, and you're definitely going to have to speak to people that you've never spoken to, that are brand new, and you need to be doing that now. So if you're not doing that, and if you're emailing and not picking up the phone, that is an issue. But you need to get really clear on who are the clients I'm targeting, who are my ideal clients, and how can I be reaching out to those guys. And I'm going to share with you how some of our clients are doing this organically and are having those conversations, because you're going to need to do that, because you can't rely on your existing network. Anything else to add on that, Katie?
No, I think you're right. It's that, it is without a doubt, there has to be, you've got to be there 24/7, but you also need to, again, be, there's got to be something more in it for the client, rather than doing what a lot of people are doing. And don't get me wrong, I do see a lot of good posts, but they're not really out of the ordinary. They're all quite samey. Yeah,
absolutely. So things that our clients are doing at the moment that are making a really big difference is they're having these really deep level conversations, and they are looking at this from, as they're talking to the client, they're asking these questions. How can I serve this client? How can I still add huge value even if I'm not recruiting? How can I take this this situation and make it even better? And what our clients are doing is taking the current challenges that we're all facing, and they're using this to leverage it as an opportunity, but an opportunity for good, and an opportunity to add great value. And that's the approach that they're taking. And so they're asking the questions, and they're digging deep, and they're thinking at this time, right, so how can I serve? Like, what skills do I have that might not be evident at the moment that I could give to this client that will add massive benefits? So I think Julie Lawrence is on this call now. So one of the things you said to me the other day, Julie, is, our clients have bought their recruitment in-house, so they're not paying a recruiter, but they're then bombarded with all of these CVs. Now, they've got a problem there, because if you think of the time it takes to screen through 100 or 200 CVs, that could take somebody who's inexperienced weeks to do. So if they're doing that, then how are they managing to fit their other work in and look after their kids and, do all the other stuff that they need to do? And if they were to, for example, outsource that to you, you could probably do it in 1/10 of the time and make sure that they've got the right people. So there's an opportunity there where you've got a skill that would add massive value, that would save them a ton of time. Not in terms of actually doing just the task, but would save them loads of other time taken away from their day job, which they could be doing much more high value stuff. So there's a real value add there. So that's the thing that they're thinking, how can I serve? And so Heather has done some stuff over and beyond, but this will come back to her like a zillion folds. Can you mention about the pasta?
Yeah. Yeah, so Heather's been, she has been, fair play to her, she has really been networking and making these calls even at the weekend. So, and she's been connecting with her clients on Facebook. She has been going, above and beyond, and because that is what it takes right now. And she had a conversation with one of her clients who was a senior executive within the NHS. And he actually has, he unfortunately has a child with a disability, and his child loves a certain pasta, and he couldn't get hold of it. So Heather has sent him and sent him and his wife a load of this pasta, so that their child can have their favourite food. And he said to her, that's the sort of thing that is just goes way above and beyond. You know, I'll probably be your greatest client for years off the back of that. And these are the sorts of things that are coming out of the conversation. So it's not necessarily that we're all just going to go and ask personal questions and then just send people things. It's actually about uncovering what's important for that person right at that point that was their pain point. And as Heather said, at that moment in time, that was his pain point. It wasn't recruitment, and it wasn't actually necessarily, I mean, there are problems within, obviously within the organisation that he wanted help with. But actually at that moment that I spoke to him on that day, a big problem for him was the pasta. And so she served him that.
Absolutely. And so it's about, you know, really thinking, how can I transform what I've got into something that adds great value? And, you know, I think I saw Heather post again, you know, like the really short of face masks, and she was reaching out to other clients in our network who's got engineering companies who are currently shut, who could actually be manufacturing these. Again, it like totally creative, out of the box type stuff that can make a big difference. So it's getting resourceful and going, how could this be an opportunity? How could this conversation and my skills lead to something far greater than what I'm currently doing that can make a big difference? So that's the first thing. They're really going out there. And there is also a level of fear, I think, that's stopping some people from going into new clients. And this came up actually on our call today. You know, it's almost like, who am I, a recruiter, to be offering people advice on areas that, you know, I'm not an expert in? And I said to Emma, you know, you will know other people who are experts in that area. So, for example, when this all kicked off, I could see that a lot of our clients were panicking about, how does this furlough work and how am I going to get the funding? How does it work? So I reached out to somebody that I knew who was an expert in that, and then just facilitated that conversation. And that, I think, is the type of thing that you know, it might not be you, but you would probably know somebody else who could do that. Another one of our clients, this is not this time around, but this was back in the recession last time. He phoned up one of his clients, said, look, mate, we're not recruiting. Don't speak to me about recruitment. And Andy was like, I'm not here to speak to you about recruitment. I'm here to understand what your biggest challenges are. And he uncovered that there was a piece of software that the sales team didn't know how to sell. And Andy then found a contractor who went in and put together training and delivered training across the whole of Europe for this big client. And Andy put him in as a contractor on a day rate, so he was able to get profit from that. But he solved that client's problem, and that client became his biggest client for the next 15 years off the back of that. So this is what I'm talking about. But you've got to really understand the problems and be asking, how can I add value, utilizing my skills, my network, to make this an even better proposition for my client. So the second thing that our guys are doing is being visible and valuable, and they're doing this in a cool way. So we talked about you know, Heather and her pasta, but there's we've got one client, Louisa, who's doing some cool Zoom interviews with clients. Again, she's established what the needs are, and then she's adding value. So they've and this is all about the organic reach, and this is the difference about sending like a blog or an article, or actually really doing something. So they've joined groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, where their audience hangs out, and they are adding in value to those groups. And then off the back of that, they're then following a process that we teach them to take those conversations from a conversation actually into, from an online conversation into real conversation, to uncover the needs and then offer solutions. So they're being very visual and valuable. So it's things like Zoom calls, Facebook Lives. One of our clients use a tool called Hinterview. You might have heard it, where you can do like a quick video, recorded them, a snippet of them, rather than just sending an email, sent it to a client and picked up 8 exclusive contract jobs. So it's and it's about doing things differently, being visual and adding value. And that's the type of things that we would be recommending that you do on social media. Now, there's a process behind it, but that is far more effective than just sending out blogs or I don't know, an ebook that might or might not hit it. So actually adding in your expert advice in those areas. So Katie, anything else to add on that?
No, I think, you're absolutely right. It's about making sure that you're at the forefront of their mind, but with innovation and solutions as much as just more information for the client, because right now, that's useful, but it's not necessarily what they need.
Yeah, and so the other thing that our clients are doing, which again is giving them big results, is they're really stepping outside their comfort zone. And I think they're able to do that because they've got a system that they're following, but more importantly, they're setting really consistent, focused time, and they're being held accountable. So one of the things that we do is in the program is we people have to submit their accountability each week. We read it and we can see, because the numbers don't lie, if somebody is actually doing the work or actually just doing stuff that's not going to give them results. And the two things that are going to make a big difference to you at the moment is the number of quality calls that you have and doing these simple things consistently. So every single day, carving time out, scheduling time and sticking to it, and just even if you get a knockback, you just keep going and you keep going. And there's a very cool book called The Slight Edge, which is we train this mentality throughout all of our programs, which is tiny things that you do consistently all add up to make a great big results. And so the other thing is this is not a time to start up a new niche. You need to be focusing on an area that you're certain that you can get results in. So this could either be your expertise or skill level, or it could be obviously the recruitment market that you work in. And this is not a time to suddenly go, right, well, I might be placing, I don't know, hospitality and catering. I'm going to suddenly jump to placing technology, business information experts. That is not good use of your time. People want to buy certainty, and they want to buy something that they know that is almost guaranteed that that's going to give them the results. And you can only do that if you stick within your niche. And so you want to create a solution that's going to match that. And so one of the things in our momentum program is each person's offer is going to be slightly different. And at the moment, until people have done we call it the digging for gold exercise, we don't know what it is that they're going to offer their clients. But what we do know is when they've done that and they bring that back to us and we brainstorm it, they can then put together something that's going to add significant value, and then how they structure it, how they price it, how they then deliver it. And that's what's happening at the moment with our clients, and stuff's coming out of the woodwork that we would never have imagined in a million years. We've got people who are in the community, they're sharing jobs, so they might be picking jobs up that are not in their space. So like Louisa picked up 2 construction jobs the other day that somebody else in our group has taken on,
Michael.
And filled. And that so but that comes from this consistent and this habit, and this it's almost like a relentless pressure, but in certain key areas, not in everything, on having these conversations. So Katie, anything that you want to add with that? Yeah.
I think on that, just to add, in terms of it's knowing their numbers and understanding that there are going to be no's, but every no is actually getting you closer to a yes. So we're also helping them with the mindset around this, and I think that's probably just one other area that's important, because when you're alone, which a lot of people are when they're recruitment business owners, you're on your own, you haven't got a peer group, you haven't got anyone to talk to, you haven't got anyone to hold your hand, you haven't got anyone to tell you the how, or even just to give you that boost of confidence. And what can happen for a lot of us is, if we've been in the marketplace, if you've been in recruitment for quite a long time, you've probably seen it with some of your teams, is the more steps that we take, it's almost like the more doubt we build in our heads because it's like we've been here for a long time. We've experienced quite a few knockbacks. So therefore, it becomes more of the norm. And therefore, what we can tend to do is we can make assumptions, or we think something's going to play out because maybe we've experienced that before. And that's actually what's stopping us from taking that action. So the thing here about the structured process that you're taking is that we will also help you to go beyond that, to take yourself every day one step further than you did the day before, because that's what's going to change your habits and your behaviors, and that's what's going to change the results that you get, is taking those steps and taking those actions. So we will be there every day to support people around that mindset piece. And I think that's quite big for a lot of people, because I think I know people have got the skill, they've got the motivation, and they want to do it. It's just that then sometimes when they wake up or they make that first call and they don't necessarily get the result that they want, it's very easy to move back into that sort of fear state and not take action. So, specifically, that's another big thing that people are working on with us every day, is those morning rituals and their mindset.
Yeah, and I mean that is the fifth thing I've got, that our clients are doing. They're really managing their thoughts and their beliefs, because we're being bombarded with bad news, whether it's the news stories, people, death out there. And if you allow yourself to get caught up in that fear, it can really spiral you off track really, really quickly. And this was when I spoke to Katy about how she approached the recession in 2008 to what I'd seen happening in a lot of other businesses. The way that Katy approached it was, we're on this, we are focused, we're disciplined, we're just going to take the action. There was no question in her mind that she wasn't going to be successful. So she really had managed her thoughts and beliefs. And I think that's the reason why you had such significant success. And I could tell you there was 90% of the market that weren't doing that. It was a stat, an interesting stat, something like I think it was like 20% of the recruitment market tripled their businesses in the recession. And because they would have had that attitude and they'd have been doing things consistently. So if you get caught up in that spiral effect, it really can take you away from making that solid action that you need to be doing in your business. And, like, with the best will in the world, all of us have our wobbles. I know I've had wobbles over the last 2 weeks. Had it not been for Katy and, our other coaching, we're part of a coaching program too. I would have been knocked off course longer than I would have liked. But these guys, pull me back in really quickly. So, and I couldn't have necessarily done that on my own. So, we do things daily to keep ourselves on track. So we keep focus on the direction that we're heading. And I mean, realistically, we're in a sales game. You're going to get, whether it's a good market, bad market, thriving market, shit market, you're going to get knockbacks all the time. So it's no different to it is now. We just need to be doing the reach out to more people on a much more consistent basis. And both Katy and I passionately feel that you can get these same results that our clients are experiencing. There's nothing magic about it. And people talking about sort of skill versus hard work. Look, if you put the work in, you will get results. You'll get more results than people who are more skilled and who don't put the work in. So, we think that you said yes to joining us because you believe at an absolute base level that you can do that as well. So, like, we know that you can do this, and we know that you can, sort of, by taking this approach, it will really transform, transform what you're offering. It could transform the way that you do business forever. So, the thing to remember is what we're talking about. You don't need to know what that offer is yet, and it's probably more. If you're looking to make deals in the next 90 days, we know we've had clients who've experienced that in the last week and a half. But what we're also saying is, I think you will be offering something which is other than just recruitment. And the thing about this is you don't need to know what that is now. You won't know what that is now until you start talking to your clients. So, and you know, our guys have done that off the back of then the process that we've given. And I just want you to know that that's not a reason to stop taking action. And this is why we start our program with getting people to have real conversations with real people from absolutely day one, because that's what's going to give you the answers. Yeah. So let me just share with you then the steps that you need to take if you want to get revenue, and good revenue, whether it's placements or some other form of revenue, in the next 90 days. So you might want just to make a note of this. The first step is to get absolutely clear on what your plan is. So get clear on your numbers, get clear on what you want to achieve, the money that you want to achieve in the next 30 days, the next 60 days, the next 90 days, and then you want to be working that figure back and working out how many conversations do I need to be having in order to hit that target. So you want to get really clear on your plan, but more importantly, as well as the numbers, you want to be getting really clear on who am I targeting, both candidates and clients, and then how am I going to carve out time and structure time on a day-to-day basis to do that. So that's the first step. The second step is then actually reaching out to generate these conversations, and bearing in mind they will probably be conversations with new clients. There's a process that you can use for that to organically generate without spending any money on advertising, and actually have conversations with proper avatar clients. But you want to be reaching out and generating conversations. And then the third step is digging deep, like we call it the digging for gold conversations, where you really are understanding the client's problems and challenges at the moment that are more than likely nothing to do with recruitment. Really understanding at a deep level what those are. So that's the third step. The fourth step is then what your offer is. So how to carve out, knowing what you know now, what are the patterns, what are the clients saying, where can I add value, already using my skills or my network of people who've got skills to add significant value to my clients that I can charge a fee for. So you want to then to carve out your offer. And then the next step is then to have proper sales conversations with clients to take that offer to market. And then underlying all of that is that consistent implementation. So you're course correcting, you are you know, when you get off track, you know, you're working at your accountability, and you know what you're doing to get yourself back on track quickly. Now we've got on these things, so for example, reaching out and generating conversations with avatar clients and candidates, we've got multiple ways that we teach in our Momentum program to do that, and we like to keep it really simple and low key. So we don't talk about building out like a web page or sales funnel. It can be really as simple as a direct reach out to your warm contacts, and it could be also where we show you how to generate engagement in your target audiences to new clients. You can do that through emails, you can do that through Facebook posts, you can do that through Facebook Lives. Now, there's always a point here where people go, but my business is different, you know, my clients wouldn't be interested in any of that. You know, we had the conversation this week with one of the guys in this group about this. Your business isn't different because you're dealing with people. And Katy and I have got clients, you know, who place blue collar mechanics right through to, you know, working with superstar, you know, yacht owners, to people who work in the NHS. You know, every single type of recruitment you can imagine, we've got clients in, and I can tell you now that the process is the same because we're dealing with people. But some of the questions that you ask in your offer might be different to how you do that. And we will show you how you can grow your audience. We show you how you make yourself visible and valuable in those places, and you generate from a low tech perspective. So you don't need a website. You don't need an offer at the moment. You don't need a list generator. You just need to call them. So the other thing about the conversations, again, there's a process that you follow, and everything's scripted on that. So if you get stuck, there's a script that you follow, and you find once you've done it a couple of times, you probably don't need the script so much, but you definitely would be using it to start off with. And with regards to like the accountability, one of the things we do in Momentum is we sit down weekly with our clients to see if you're on track, and if you're not, then we help you to course correct. And now we do this, and we base it on your figures, and we do this because figures don't lie, you know, and we say data, not drama, stats, not stories. Your data doesn't lie. And if you're making the number of calls, and we're not talking about loads, I mean, it might just be 10 calls a week. If you're doing that consistently every single week for the next 30 days, you will uncover opportunities, you will uncover business, you'll make money. If you don't take the action, then we know that there's other stuff that's stopping you. It could be fear, it could be judgment, it could be a time issue. It doesn't matter what it is. We will help you to get past that issue and support you to get you back on track. And that's what we're doing with our team at the moment, because I can tell you there's quite a lot of fear, certainly for business owners who haven't done new business, sometimes for like 10 years. Going back to doing it, they're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not good enough, can't do this. So we are dealing with that, and we're helping. And sometimes it's just get on JFDI, get on the phone, do it, report back. And that's just enough for some people to give them the nudge. But that one point is that's there, and that's making a difference. So if you do want our help, so the good news is what we're willing to do is that first step, your plan, we're willing to do that for free. And basically it's a no charge. So we will help you to carve out a plan of what where you need to focus, the numbers, your money making plan, and where you need to be focusing your time. Now, if you would like to get that, all you need to do is to book a call with us and go to Centered Excellence, which is CENTRED Excellence, EXCELLENCE.co.uk/apply, and you just fill out a short questionnaire and book a call with us. Now, if at that point when we have that session with you, we feel that you'd be served by coming on our program, then we will let you know that. But we don't offer it to everybody because it's not right for everybody. But if we feel that it can serve you, then we'll let you know at that point if it's appropriate. And again, there is no there's no onus on you to say yes or anything. I mean, we really are gifting this to you. So if that's something you like the sound of, then just go to centeredexcellence.co.uk/apply. And you can also see on the comments on that page some of the results our other clients have got with us, who've worked with us over the years. So, you know, let's speak, get our heads together, get that money making plan in place, and if it's appropriate, then we can let you know how the rest of the program goes. So, Katie, anything to add?
No, I think just to say that, look, bottom line is if you want help, and you already know you want help, and you're actually saying, look, I just, you know, I want to do more with you ladies and understand more about the program, then I can tell you now that you get both of us in your team when you work with us, and that will personally guarantee you success, because Nicky and I are action takers, and what we share is tried and tested, and we will make sure that you take the action, that you implement, and if you implement, you will get results. So yeah, just let us know if you need our help, and do it really quickly, because we do have limited availability in terms of those calls. So if you're going to book the call, then please do that knowing that you're going to take action, because honestly, as a coach, if I coach someone and I give you the plan and then you don't do it, that's that's really letting yourself down. So say yes if you're committed to implementing and changing the situation that you're in now.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're so certain that we can help you to get at least the investment of that program, that we've got 100% guarantee. If you do all of the bits that we show you to do, and you follow through on the number that you agree and set yourself, we know that you'll be successful. So we're putting our money where our mouth is too, because we know it works. And we've already, like in a week and a half, we've seen some significant successes already from our guys who are going through it already. Okay, so let's go to Q&A now. Please feel free to ask us any questions about either things that are happening for you at the moment, clients, candidates, either mindset stuff, any issues you've got with your staff, anything. Please feel free to type into the box, into the chat box. Right, no questions. I know that they had a couple of questions from people who've emailed me over the week. Okay, right. Well, so there's no questions in terms of what's going on, excuse me, on for you at the moment. Then we'll call it a day. Oh, hang on. Right, hang on. Here we go. Emma's asking, what kind of candidate management chat tips do you have? So, Katie, what would you say to Emma on that? So, what kind of candidate management chat tips do you have?
I think, well, for me, they'd be the same as the client, which is uncovering what's going on for them right now. When you say chat tips, what do you mean, Emma? Because I think if it's uncovering a potential solution for your candidates, which, by the way, is definitely something that you could do, some of the clients have done that, then it would very much be, questioning them on what's their current problem, what's happening for them, what's going on in the for them personally, as well as what's happening in their marketplace, and maybe some career questions. But it depends. It depends your level of candidate, your marketplace, because I'd tailor it all to that. So I'd also say right now, I'd spend more time with the clients than I would with the candidates. So again, I think just understanding when you say, candidate chat tips, because if you're chatting, then that's just a chat, isn't it? Or is there an outcome that you want from that? i.e. you want to carve a service for them, because that's certainly something that we teach our clients, which is how to actually carve a candidate service offering as well as a client service offering. So so we were talking, probably a bit dependent there.
We were talking today, there's one of the ladies in our coaching group who actually is a career offers a career counselling service, and she charges $5,000 to help people get really clear on a change in their career. So if you are doing that, and offering for candidates, then I would be following exactly the same questions that Katie, to understand where are they getting stuck, where do they need help specifically, what have you got that can offer them on that. Okay, so Katie, the next question is, what steps are companies taking to keep furloughed staff engaged?
Well, some of the guys are doing training. So we've got one of our clients who is doing weekly training with her team, and then she is actually giving them a test at the end of the week. So they have to go away and do their own homework as well. She does a session with them, and then she actually sets them a test to make sure that they are upskilling along the way. And what she's also doing off the back of that, which is really smart, is she is videoing. So she's doing them on Zoom. She's videoing those training sessions so that she's actually got a ready-made training program that she can then continue with new people and other people in the business. So yeah, she's killing or achieving more than one thing from it. So I would definitely say be training those individuals. I would also be having catch up with them, because I mean, the key thing here is assuming that you want to bring them all back. You know, one of the other conversations I've had this week is where some people have actually got people within their teams that aren't going to be right for the new marketplace. So there it's an element of, I think, you know, supporting them in this time, but actually, if it is that they're not quite right for your business and they won't be able to, i.e. you've got people that you've been hanging on to that perhaps you've had question mark about, but now it's sort of like you need to make fairly swift decisions about whether you can upskill them or not to get to the place that they need to, or whether it's you know, kinder to give them the opportunity to get a new role moving forwards. So that's something else. But I would be keeping in contact with them, because if they're a good recruiter, then I think you're going to get some savvy recruiters that are doing well in this space, or are aware that actually there's some good people out there and they're going to start making contact. That hasn't happened, I don't think, yet, but I think it will do. I can certainly see that happening with people poaching people.
Yeah, and I mean, I would be thinking about, like, what are books that they could be reading that are really motivational, upskilling books. Like, for example, The Slight Edge.
Brilliant book.
Some other ones that are really good for junior. Well, not. This is a good book. 10 Pillars of Wealth for youngsters. It's about a guy who was 28, multi-millionaire, and how his approach to it. There's some cool stuff on YouTube. So it doesn't always have to be necessarily recruitment training that you're doing. It could be personal development. It could be sort of books. It might be worthwhile putting in some books that would be worthwhile. There's a whole stack of books I can think that would be worthwhile people reading, and then again, almost getting them to do a précis on what they've learned, what are their biggest takeaways, sharing that then with the group. You could even buddy them up with somebody else in the team, so they're sort of doing that, and like, what are they learning, what's going to be their plan when they come back, how they're going to approach the market. Obviously they can't do anything on email, but they could be certainly researching and looking at target clients, and making lists of things that they could do.
Yeah, they can certainly be upskilling themselves in all sorts of areas, and even in market knowledge and expertise as well. That's the other thing that someone else is doing with their teams, keeping in contact with them and making sure that they're doing that as well.
Yeah, and then I mean, even just basic stuff. So Rachel, you'd asked about it, like touching in with them each week. You could have like a team team call, Team Zoom, just how you're doing, and like a virtual coffee or virtual lunch, or just just something that's keeping them connected. Just check out how they are. Helen, you asked me, do we apply in the contact us section of your website? I've just sent you the link. I put the link up. It's centeredexcellence.co.uk/apply. Sarah, you've said, I specialise in travel, so it's a dreadful time for my clients, but you mentioned about staying in your niche. Help, what do I do? So I would be really digging deep on what, putting recruitment to one side, what are their major challenges at the moment? Because I think there's something that you potentially could uncover that could help them out. You might not be able necessarily to monetize it this exact second, but certainly the feedback we're getting is that flight companies are looking at going back on about the 17th of June. And we've, like, from our contacts within the government, this is contacts of contacts in the government, they were talking about reopening workspaces in and around the 20th of June. So it does sort of tally in about that time. Now, there are going to be restrictions. I think they're talking about social distancing, how they're going to do that on an aeroplane, I'm not quite sure, but they're talking about having people sort of 2 meters apart, sitting on separate things. So it might actually get moving in your space. quicker than you expect. But I would be having those level of conversations and digging deeper to find out what the main challenge is aside from recruitment. And until you've done that, and you've done it with at least 30 people, like if you've done it with 30 people and you've done it really in depth, then, and everyone's basically said there's nothing you can help with at all, which I would be really surprised, then I'd be looking at another approach. Dawn, thank you very much. That's cool. Paul, you've said, what software would you highly recommend for rota bookings and also payroll? I was told Pulse and Deputy are good. I run a recruitment agency that deploys nurses and carers in the care sector. Right. I'm going to post up, I'll send you a link. There's a new piece of software that one of our clients has developed that basically looks at availability for temps. It's a really cool piece of software. It's free. And basically, temps can then book directly onto the times that they need. So I'll give you details for Mark Payne and his business on that. With regards to payroll, clients that people have been talking about in our groups, people like Bibby. What's the other one? Dawn, you've got a really good one. Who do you use? Payroll. If anybody else has got any suggestions on that, what I would do, Paul, is actually put that in this group and send that out.
Yeah,
I think other people will be able to give you proper recommendations for that. Hi, Taj. I can. Taj is here.
Oh.
So my business is 3 people doing healthcare perms, which is running fine. I've got 2 finance recruiters, 2 legal consultants, and 1 person doing rec to rec. Do you think it's worth me dragging some of the guys over to healthcare for the short term, or to keep operating and trying to grow their own markets? That is a good question. In all honesty,
quite a few markets there, wasn't there?
Yeah,
How many did I hear? 3, 4.
So he's got finance, legal, rec to rec, and healthcare. In all honesty, I would get them to stick with their niches and to be having these deep level conversations, because I don't know, actually. Yeah,
I would say if you've got, I'd probably review those markets. I would still call the clients and have the conversations, but at the same time, people can still have plenty of those conversations and potentially be supporting in the healthcare to be developing that even further. So I would say, do you say how many people doing healthcare, and is it all perm or temp?
3 doing healthcare perms, healthcare perms.
Right. So, I mean, if they're flat out and there's more opportunities, but you're not able to optimize those because of the number of heads, then I would definitely be looking at splitting people's time so that at least they could be supporting, even if they're resourcing for your healthcare guys. I mean, it depends. Probably what I would say is have a call with us. It might be easier to for us to understand what exactly where you are with each of those markets. And again, there's a process you could run through, but I think potentially I would want to have those conversations. The only market, I think you mentioned rec to rec. I don't know how buoyant that is right now, but some of the other markets probably have got opportunities within them. But again, you need to make sure that you have those calls and that you make that decision. Because I often find when you've only got 1 person in a market as well, my rule of thumb was always 3 people in a market at least. Because if you've only got 1 person, then if that person, isn't there, sick, leaves, whatever, you're very exposed. So yeah, I don't know how much you've got in that market if it's just 1 person, for example, in rec to rec.
The rule that Katie had, which I thought, again, I mean, this makes perfect sense, is as soon as a job comes in, you want to get that job exclusive and then get literally all hands on deck to cover that job immediately. So that's what I would be looking at, is how can I deploy the team so we're filling these roles, you know, within hours by getting all hands on deck. But if they're there full time, there's certainly going to be 3, 4, potentially even 5 hours a day where they can be doing this other stuff as well. Cool. Right, so I will take some photos of books which we think will be good, and I think that's it for questions, guys. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found it useful, and we will see you next week too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Keep doing amazing stuff. Bye bye.